turnovers affecting offense. Are there any other things that you guys are working on clean up or doing differently to bring the offensive rating up to where you need it to be?
Yeah, a couple things. One is, we're trying to work on our spacing around some of these defenses that Ant's now seeing more and more of, like, delay blitz traps type stuff, overloads. That's one thing. And transition, we're still trying to get better in transition. We feel like there's a lot to be gained there still.
Have those delayed blitzes and things, has that kind of evolved as the season's gone along? Are there newer things that you're seeing?
Yeah, we're seeing them at a higher frequency where, now they require a lot more time and attention, for sure.
What does Ant have to do in those spots?
Just see them coming, recognize, what it really is and how, where his best outlets are mostly,
So you don't have as many practices at this stage of the season. When you get a veteran team, can you teach them almost with video, without practice? Are practice important?
Yeah, we do a lot of video work here, whether it be individual or team, and it's the center of not only teaching but our accountability. How do we get better? How do we point out mistakes, trends that are going the wrong direction? Also, themes. A lot of themes through video. We don't just throw up every single mistake. We look for the themes that matter most, the things that we could try to correct, right now, quickly. And then, the practice piece, even if it's just a kind of a walkthrough or low intensity practice, where you're picking up on the themes from the video room to the practice floor. That's the best connectivity to, I think, correct in advance. So.
Do you do a lot of that on your own, or is that
No, it's a staff-wide.
Do you say this is what I want to see?
Well, we talk about the trends. A lot of times after games, we'll say, hey, these are things that we're seeing for the edit tomorrow. Let's have this ready. And if the edit doesn't bear it out, then, of course, we go a different direction. But, it's a staff-wide endeavor, really. So.
How do you like about the mentality of this team when it comes to finishing a game, especially going after the Clippers where they kind of were making a surge? But
yeah, it was good. We held on there enough, made enough plays. Every kind of finishing situation's a little different. The Boston one was a lot of mistakes by us. A lot of really good plays by them, but a lot of mistakes by us, turnovers, blown coverages on defense. This one, first of all, it was good to bounce back and win. When a team's closing you down like that. When we failed to do that in Dallas or we failed to do that in Boston. But this was the hacker Rudy strategy is also difficult to play through sometimes, and we got to do a better job of when a team is doing that, what we're willing to live with at the other end of the floor. We can't go 1 for 2 from the line and give up threes. You just can't do that. So you can't foul and you can't turn it over. And we did all those things at one point in a 3-4 minute stretch is what tightened up the game. So still a lot to learn from.
But is it
you
possible?
Look disappointed.
No, bad answer. Yeah. Is it possible to sustain the level of defensive excellence you guys have exhibited at home, on the road?
Carry over to the road, you mean?
Is it possible to play that same level of defense? The numbers bear out that they're very different, and eye test says they're kind of different too. Is it possible? What's the challenge of trying to take the way that this team has pretty consistently played defensively at Target Center and carry it out to the road? Yeah,
I think better starts on the road would help. I feel like we have slow starts defensively on the road. I'd like to see us get off to better starts. What happens on the road is generally opposing teams' role players make shots at a higher level than they do on the road. So that's a variance you got to try to account for. Maybe tighten up those guys a little bit more. And then obviously just some momentum swings in the game will hurt you in transition or on the glass and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but our goal is to. How's that?
Makes sense.
What's the biggest improvement Nasreed has made in your mind?
The biggest
improvement this year?
I think it's just overall kind of that piece with who he is as a player. He plays fast, but doesn't rush. Doesn't live and die with all of his mistakes. He's maturing as a player. Things used to snowball on him. That doesn't happen anymore. That's the mental side to me. Just the maturity and growth there has been impressive. Defensively, he's other than fouling a little bit too much at times. really taking the challenge of guarding. I mean, we had him on Norm Powell chasing off screens the other day, doing a lot of things that he hasn't traditionally done, and he's gotten better at it. It was a big point of emphasis in the summer for him, so he put the work in, and I'm really glad to see that, he's enjoying the success that's bringing for him personally.
Chris, you mentioned a few times it's a team that likes to play. You don't really have any guys that want or need to take half a back-to-back off.
Yeah.
So what's your overall sense of just the freshness and health of this team around mid-season?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's. I mean, I would say if we, a couple weeks ago we were pretty fatigued. A lot of things going on, travel, holidays, tough schedule, all that. Guys feel fresher right now. Feels like we have our mojo back in a lot of different ways, which is important to us. We have a 3-4 here, which is, we had one I think last week too. So so it's important for us as coaches to make sure that we keep them in the right kind of pace to be able to play those games fresh. But it feels like it's pretty good right now.
Could be kind of dependent on game situation, but what time on the shot clock do you like actions to start playing?
Just like in the regular flow? Yeah. I mean, I'd certainly like to be into the offense a little quicker than we are. I mean, within, I would say, 4 to 5 seconds. We're usually 6 to 8 seconds,
So how much does that free up if you can do that?
It frees up a lot. I mean, it frees up usually one more play and a pass, at least. With a couple seconds, you can make a play and a pass. And I think the more importantly is we don't put the offense on their heels enough early at the end of transition. So to me, it's more about that, getting them, because we can be in the paint within 7 or 8 seconds, and then we know something good's going to happen.
Chris, were you sticking with Rudy no matter what through that hacka when they went to it, or how do you play that?
I mean, that's my intention all the time right now. No, I pulled him when I had the chance to after he missed a couple, and we'd given up some threes. So I was like, okay, we could shut down the 3-point line, get him the next 2 minutes on the bench, and then and finish with him. So.
Thoughts on the Eagles?
No, thank you. No comment.
Being more effective, being more high alert and more energetic. That kind of plays through to the fans at that point. Kind of helping us in that with that energy level, things of that nature. So I think just in those aspects, just have more energy, be more awareness, have more awareness.
So when you guys shut down the Clippers when they're making that surge too, the whole defense, not only you, has been fantastic. What do you think the biggest key is in your improvement defensively this year?
Just knowing your rotation, knowing other places, flying around, having each other's back, communicating, that's huge. Just knowing, that guy someone else has your back is kind of big, so you know where to force someone, where the help is, things of that nature.
Now, does that home court, you think, become a more of a bigger advantage for you guys lately?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're almost selling out every home game, so that's huge for us. I think to have that energy we haven't had in the last couple of years is, it's been great, phenomenal to support. Everybody's engaged, everybody's excited to see us play. So again, that goes towards the fans.
The energy and confidence, the same thing to an extent. And then I know what analytics say, but it seems like in the second half, a lot of games, you guys seem to be able to go to another gear to get it done.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, that's to the fans. They're helping us at that point with the engagement they have, and they're excited. They're yelling, cheering us on. They're even, they want to see the replay if there's something bad call. Things of that nature. Just, help us have a positive feel throughout the game.
And now they blame the refs.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So 100%. So just that. I think that aspect has helped us tremendously.
That's also mentally for you guys when it comes to finishing games. It's a whole different gear, if you want to say, this year. How has that changed?
Just the mentality-wise, I think we're using our smarts to, manipulate the game, try and figure out what's, the best, play to make at the end of the game, on that side of the floor. Even on defense, just locking in, having more intensity, and just having more awareness to, what's going on in the game and the time and situation.
It seems like Mike passes up a lot of good shots in the name of ball movement. What kind of tone does that set for everybody else?
It's huge. We're moving the ball. If one person, it's kind of a saying we have, is good to great. So he might have a good shot where he's at the point guard level. He's been in 17 years. He kind of knows what's the next play to make, and it's most likely a great play. So I think that just helps us tremendously.
I know you talked about this earlier, where everyone has those, honk if you love Nas Reed, just kind of your status is kind of really folklore. People just adore you. How has that been for you to handle this year?
It's been great. I mean, just happy to see that the work that I put in goes noticed, and the support's been there. And it's kind of like a dream come true. It's kind of something you want at this level. When you're growing up, going out of college or high school, it's something like you always want to be that guy or something like that. So I mean, it's been great for me.
As you see Kyle finding an offensive groove here lately for you, like how have you seen him kind of come out of whatever little funk that he was in?
I mean, like I said before, it's 82-game season, so you're going to have ups and downs. So, I mean, I think just him being confident and staying focused, he gets inside the paint, make plays, floaters, reading, kicking it out. He's smart, man. He can play 1 through 5, offensively and defensively. So, I mean, he's down to figure it out.
As when you face a team like Detroit that's had struggles and have had their shares of being kicked, a team like that can be dangerous sometimes, right? How do you approach that as well, knowing that any given night, right?
I mean, it's business-like mentality. I mean, they can beat any. They have wins on their side, so they can beat anybody at any moment. You never know what type of day, the day brings. I mean, you got to stay focused. Like I said, have a business mind approach and keep positivity in the air.
Thank you.
For sure.
Aside of the turnovers that you guys talked about a lot, like what do you think else you guys are focusing on to kind of get your offense to maybe catch up to your defense a little bit?
I think a little bit more pace in our offense, and not necessarily meaning up and down playing fast, but in half court, like cutting with purpose, like not letting the ball stick, just moving it to move it, and creating more driving lanes and spacing for each other, because our offense can be really good. We just got to continue to work on our spacing, work on trusting each other, and it's going to continue to get better, I think, as the season goes on.
It seems like Kyle is coming out of you, finding a groove offensively. Will that be a big help too as he kind of becomes more assertive and more effective, I guess, on that end?
Yeah, Kyle's a guy who can pretty much, he has every part of the game in his game, and when he's playing at all three levels and making decisions for us and playing the point, getting in the paint, making plays, scoring the ball in the paint, even knocking down a corner three last game, like he just being more involved and more confident just makes our team better.
Ideally, at what point in the shot clock would you like the first action to be executed?
I've always been in the boat that the first 4 or 5 seconds you want to just try to score, like up in the driving it, trying to make a play. Outside of that, it's probably like 17 on the clock, and then you can run an action, get into a play or something like that. But the first 7 seconds or so, just be free and like drive and kick, try to find something, try to find a defensive breakdown early. But after that, get into our offense immediately, and from that point, it's about how effectively we can run it and our pace at that point.
So like delayed transition, kind of really see if there's anything there.
Yeah, you definitely want to kind of get a little bit a sneak peek of sorts of like what you can get away with early, because sometimes you might not even have to do anything. The defense might, somebody might fall down, somebody just doesn't have their head turned. Like just get back and run it at them and try to get a bucket, and then at that point, once they're set, it's like, all right, now let's see how the court is spaced, who had to match up with who, because we ran it at them a little bit. Now there might be a mismatch there on the court, so it might dictate, what play we're going to run or who we're going to go at. So I think just a little bit more pace kind of helps all that.
What is the balance of attacking mismatches but not wanting that to turn into stagnancy as well?
Yeah, I think the easy answer is like when you got a mismatch, especially with our big guys, we're going to have them a lot in games. We want to save it for late game stuff, where you got guys who you're trying to play off the court or like trying to get guys in foul trouble. Just the game is a little bit more, you have a little more information for it. Early in the game, you want to have the ball movement, you want to have everybody involved, you want to have everybody kind of touch and feel the game, to keep them, engaged as far as all 4 quarters go. So I'm in the boat of like just you can slow it down when the game slows down later in the games and do that, but first 3, just move it.
Mike, you know the players now, you played them long enough. How much of a point guard do you get a feel that night and go, hey, Edwards, we got to feed the beast because he's in the zone and those kinds of things? And how do you measure that on a nightly basis, deciding who's there and who's got the match?
Yeah, no, it's the fun part of my job is like I come in and I literally tell myself I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I don't know who it's going to be. Be ready to adjust to it and to go out there and just feel the game and see who's got the hot hand, see who hasn't got a couple shots in the last few times up and down, How can we get Rudy involved? How can we get Kyle involved? Like all that stuff is kind of wrapping around my brain from the first jump ball. So it's the fun part, just go out there and do my job.
Mike, in addition to your defense against the Clippers, also the mentality of finishing, not letting them get back in it to win it. That's kind of been a good mindset. How has that changed, do you think, over the course of this season for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's something we've gotten better at as the season's gone on. I think that we're a team that kind of had to see it happen a few times, see that we can, sustain a 10-point lead in the fourth when they make a run, or win a game when they come back and tie it up, and we have to make a few plays at the end of the game to win. Once we see that, it's like it builds that confidence. Like, hey, we've been here before. Team has made this run before. We're no longer thinking about the past as if like, oh no, this is where we lose these games, and oh no, it's happening again. Instead, it's like, we know what to do. We know how to handle this. Like, let's lock in. Let's get a couple stops and execute offensively, and we can go home happy. So I think that that's been our transition as the season's gone on.
Like when you first got here, or even in the camp this season, what were some of the signs that you saw that this could be such a successful defensive team?
I just looked at it on paper, honestly. You look at our roster and the guys, the length that we have, Jaden, Rudy, Kat, Kyle, and like it was just like a match made in heaven for a team to have the opportunity to be a really good defensive-minded team if we all buy in. And that was the whole thing. It was just training camp. You saw from day one we were working strictly on defense, and that kind of set the stage for us coming into this season. Everybody's going to be bought into that, and we have so far.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.